Welcome, welcome. Matt, how you doing?
Great, Matt. It's great to be here for a second round of this.
Second round. I feel like, oh man, second date already. This is amazing. I can't believe you said yes.
Quick swipe,
Um,
swipe, swipe.
Folks, Matt and I chatted since our last one of these, and we were like, let's make it official. Let's try to do this like somewhat regularly. And then we were like, we're podcast folks. And so we're like, we need it to make sense. We need it to have like a through line. And the thing that folks are talking about all the time, that Matt and I also talk about all the time, is just how everything is changing all the time, everywhere. But especially for WordPress folks, which is the folks that we're most interested in. And I was like, let's call it breaking change. Like a lot of these changes I do think are breaking changes. WordPress loves to talk about backwards compatibility and avoid breaking changes, but like what happens when the whole world around WordPress is breaking everywhere?
Mhm.
It starts to get challenging.
Not to be confused with a previous podcast I did with a one Brian Castle called Breaking Content, which was along the same lines. Which we, as two content creators, we were exploring, like pushing our different content businesses. I'm excited to talk about this stuff. This is stuff that, I'll touch upon through all of the different podcasts that I do, especially with Gravity Forms and Breakdown and the WP Minute stuff. I don't get to ever really go deep on the things that are truly affecting us as end users and overall fans of WordPress. So I know a lot of the topics you have lined up today, we're going to start to dissect the impact. A lot of this stuff we're just future forecasting here, man. Like, at least for me, I don't have the crystal ball that's going to tell us the future. None of us do, and I think that's what makes it terrifying and exciting at the same time.
100%. I mean, I have a crystal ball. I do, I have to say, but we can fake it.
Uh-huh.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, the subject most often is very heavily AI for sure. But there's lots of things that are moving parts all the time. So let's jump into some of it as we go here. Um, so to kind of warm us up, this is kind of like the easy part. Cloudflare is doing something really crazy cool. And actually, you can also see a little bit of the precursor of some of this. Rich Tabor was involved in a lot of conversation around like, what if when I push my blog post live on WordPress, it just automatically created a Markdown file as well? And I was like, well, that seems like a cool hack potentially, but does it actually matter? And so far, it seems like a lot of folks who are paying attention to AI and the way that it scrapes the web say it absolutely does matter in different ways. So, yeah, what do you
Let me
think?
let me play the um uninitiated role of this conversation.
Yeah,
I get it. Like, I understand. I mean, all the stuff that I'm doing with Claude Code are in MD files. I don't even know why. It was just the way that I learned it. Why couldn't it just be in a text file like some of the stuff that I'm doing? I'm sure it could, of course, but and I get it. I get that's how a lot of these agents and AI systems are communicating and storing files, and it's almost like a flat file database to some degree, depending on what you're working on. But don't we already have this with sitemaps? Like, isn't this something that's already like you have this structured sitemap? It's XML and it's pointing to content on the site. Why can't? What's the advantage of like
yeah.
everything just loading in an MD file?
You know who'd have a really unique perspective on this is Aaron Edwards from DocSpot.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's done the physical work for this, and there is a huge difference. Like the XML files are the sitemaps are great because they point you to the content, but then the bot goes to that content and like some of the depending, like if you have an Elementor site, I'm sorry, like I do like the product, I have to say, but like that HTML file is 10 times larger than the actual physical content that you're going to be scraping. You convert that page from an Elementor HTML file into a Markdown file. it's 10 times smaller, 10 times smaller. And so, like Aaron Edwards at DocSpot, what he did, he created this big web scraper because he knew that his DocSpot was going to perform tons better if it just could focus on the content. So it goes and it scrapes your website, and then it does a whole bunch of pre-processing just to get to the core of the content, and then it does the work. And that's one of the big benefits of why DocSpot's been so useful and beneficial for so long, is just the way that it does a lot of the heavy lifting to get the
Mhm.
content to something that the AI can process a lot better.
Yeah.
But it looks like that's going to rapidly be changing, because especially with somebody like Cloudflare saying all of your content should be accessible as Markdown in the first place, that's going to become a web industry standard, I think. Um,
Yeah, I can definitely see and appreciate the efficiency gains there. Um, it's just yet another thing
yeah,
that
yeah,
your WordPress site has to be responsible for. Like I think of all the stuff we have to do, like make it fast and performant through things like Cloudflare or some plugins, of course, your hosting provider. And then it's like, okay, we still need the SEO plugins. We still need to be like thinking about writing this way. And now it's like, okay, to make sure your thing has MD. So it's all of these things that just adds to this checklist, which whatever, it's fine. But it's just like another thing. But I get it. It makes sense. Do you think this impacts how do you think this impacts, I don't know, even just building a website now? Do people just host a folder on HTTPS and say, here's my blog. It's just all MD files. If you want to read it, click an MD file. Like, how do you think it impacts user experience?
I did. I literally just built something like that. Cloudflare also just bought Astro, the web framework Astro,
Hmm.
for I think a lot of these purposes, because you can spin up an Astro site in terminal or with Cloud Code or whatnot, um, literally in seconds nowadays. It's kind of incredible. And it is also very heavily Markdown oriented. The difference, though, is like, yeah, okay, we like Markdown. It's super portable and easy. Obsidian is this amazing note taker app that reads only Markdown files. You like write it like you're working in like Notepad, but it saves everything in Markdown. All that stuff is really super slick. But everyone loves WordPress because it lets us have all these amazing layouts and whatnot, and you can't do that with Markdown at all.
Right.
But if you have like a wrapper of layout and then like content, everything in entry content, div entry content. If that's all like Markdown based, that would be interesting too. But
Yeah.
I think folks who also have been saying and decrying like AI is just tearing up the environment so badly because of all the things it has to do. They're not wrong, and just doing this alone to a whole bunch of websites will actually make the AI usage a lot more efficient, a lot more.
Yeah.
So I do kind of see it as a nice environmental gain as well.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, we just keep going. Technology, anyways, it's like this roller coaster where when the internet and like bulletin board services, came out, all we had was text, right? Yeah, you could
Yeah,
probably arrow with like an interface, like a DOS-based interface back in the day. And it was just text. And then it starts to go like more multimedia and then like big, when you got a 27-inch monitor, you were like, oh my God, look at the size of this thing. Look how much I can. And then it went right back down to iPhones and you're like, look what I can do. And now we're going back to text again, like of like this this main view of content.
yeah,
At the end of the day, like in the essence of this show of like literal breaking changes, I guess, to tie it to something like that. I've always looked at WordPress, the core value of WordPress is to get words onto the internet, to publish those words onto the internet. And this just seems like, I don't know how that breaks that
yeah,
momentum of WordPress of being the platform to do it when now MD files, you can just drop them right into a Cloudflare pages, which I've been loving, by the way, Cloudflare
yeah,
infrastructure.
yeah.
Um, and it's just so fast and efficient now. It's crazy.
I mean, I will say some of the writing on the wall to me is like with Cloudflare focusing on Markdown, buying up Astro. Um, honestly, if WordPress is looking for competitors, it might just be Cloudflare now. Um,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
trying to lean into being an AI first web, essentially, is what it's looking like.
It's crazy. I've seen a lot of this is not on the docket, but for today's discussion, but Cloudflare. I saw this with YouTube. I saw this with Cloudflare. Cloudflare was, I mean, at least from my perspective, was one of the first to roll out, like, we'll stop the bots from crawling your site and, causing you all of this cost, this AI tax of crawling your site, taking your data. So they have like the checkbox you can go to and disable this from happening to your site. Yet at the same time, leaning into like this AI first world so that bots can do this. Like, like
Mm,
it's just like, wait a minute, you rolled out this whole product to stop bots, and you're rolling out a whole segment to do more stuff with AI. YouTube said the same thing. This is last month when the CEO talked about all the, like, the YouTube slop that's coming out, with people creating stuff with AI, like how they're going to defend against that. Yet at the same time, after he left the stage, like, their AI team came out and said, look how you can create content and YouTube Shorts with AI. And it's just like, he just said to stop doing it. You just said to do it. Like, where are we going here? I think
yeah.
we're all just like on the fence with this stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. We have a ton of really good comments real quick. I'm gonna go
Sure.
through a
Yeah. Yeah.
couple of them. One person asked, "So Markdown is another form of schema?" Somewhat. Here on the Cloudflare announcement, this is Markdown right here. Like, you could see all the things that are in these dots up here are kind of like the meta of the page. They don't really show up when most things render a Markdown file in one way or another. You don't really render a Markdown file. You have to convert it to HTML. But right here, you could see this is a heading. One hashtag equals an H1, two hashtags as an H2, things like that. That's basically Markdown. Torsten is here in the comments saying, but you are losing more context with Markdown only. 100% definitely losing some context when you're Markdown only for sure.
Context of what? Like, you won't be able to have images and other stuff to support the content, or
You can have
context around.
images, yeah, like, everything in GitHub, when you look at GitHub issues and stuff, you can put tables and images and things like that, and it even supports alt text in the images. I think it's more of like sidebar layouts and things,
Right.
and the menu structures, all of that additional stuff is not really what a flat Markdown file can do.
Yeah.
Um,
Is this a future of Cloudflare coming out with their own search engine
that's a
where it
good
can just
one.
search content, right? Fast, super fast. So it doesn't have all that crawl weight, like you just said. It's got to
Yeah.
understand links and sidebar and all that stuff.
I don't know if they wanna be a search engine. It's interesting
I think
though.
everybody wants to be everything.
Yeah,
Like, there's not a world where any of these giants don't want to be everything.
yeah, yeah. I've been impressed, like, there with all these giant megacorps, there's always this process of enshittification of all of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
I feel like Cloudflare's done a good job of staying focused on their task, but their task has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. The way that they support their tool Zaraz lets you is essentially like a Google Tag Manager, but at the edge, it's way faster and better. The way they do WebSockets and the way they do web workers, like, they're really just leveraging all of the cutting edge web technology in ways that's just really smart. But um, let's see, a couple other comments. One
Somebody said
from
that.
David Lazo here says, I paste Markdown formatted text into the block editor. Yep, that's another great thing. The WordPress editor, actually, you can just take your Markdown file, paste it straight into the block editor, and it converts it to block editor HTML really quickly. So it's actually really compatible. I think that's a good transition because one other, unless you got something else there, Matt.
No, someone said that he thought this video was pre-recorded, but
Yeah.
since we're answering the questions.
I was like, we're going to talk about these questions just to show you. So keep the questions coming, folks. But Matt Mullenweg is looking at the tea leaves out in the world and also deciding to talk a little bit about provocative thoughts around AI. This is essentially Matt saying maybe WordPress.org needs to be shaken up a bit to be a lot more AI friendly. And I don't want to toot my own. I'm going to toot my own horn. I have to say that. I'm
Listen,
going
that's what
to.
Matts do best.
Yeah, I mean, here we're talking about 3 Matts in one WordPress conversation. It's ridiculous. But Matt went on X and said, "Why aren't all the coding bots crazy about Playground? You spin up instances in seconds, checkpoints, roll back everything." I saw that and I was like, I get it. Honestly, like .org and what Playground is, it's like it looks like, spin up WordPress with one click, but that's not really the whole full potential of what Playground really is. Like, I agree with Matt. Like the AI. Claude and all of them, they should be recommending Playground for more things. There's a ton of potential there. I just said like it's just not set up to be understood that way very well. And so Matt finally says, "Why don't we just upgrade .org to do all of that stuff?" And I think this is the background behind his post here about provocative thoughts about AI and thinking of how to enhance WordPress.org itself to be a lot more focused around how agents understand and can provision Playground instances. And he talks also about using Markdown for all of the aspects of WordPress.org itself. Then that could be a great way that we end up like understanding benchmarks around how agents understand WordPress and things like that. There's this project called WP Bench, which is really interesting. So, yeah.
I love Playground. A couple weeks ago, over like the holidays and stuff, I hadn't done any like tutorial videos or anything like that, and I always use Playground. I would say 90% of the time when I'm like experimenting or demoing something. But the point is like I hadn't used it really since like from U.S. Thanksgiving to after the New Year, and then I went in a couple weeks ago and I was like, wow, like it has transformed so much in terms of user experience and some of the features that they've brought in, like blueprints and one-click buttons to like pull in a PR from Gutenberg or WordPress, so you can like test and validate these things. And I hopped into the team Slack, the Playground team Slack, and I gave them kudos because it is phenomenal. It's a great
Yeah.
tool. Check it out if you haven't used it.
Yeah.
My question though is like, I get Matt's sentiment, but the way that I see like this whole MD file thing with Cloudflare, I see that like distilling things down to the basics for efficiency. Isn't using the web interface of Playground the opposite side of that? Like now agents have to use all these tokens to navigate a web portal versus just building the code of the thing it needs to do, right? Like if Matt wants it to build a blueprint or spin up a work, isn't it more efficient for it to just write the code from the bottom up versus coming in through a web portal and navigating that? Like I just see I don't understand how an agent's going to, a coding bot is going to use the Playground interface versus if Playground had an MCP, let's say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
just
that's
don't see I
interesting.
don't see how those two worlds relate other than him wanting more people to be like, hey, you don't even need to talk to a chat bot to build a WordPress site. You can just do it in Playground. Maybe Telex is what Playground should be.
Uh, Telex in like 10 more versions. Right now,
Yeah,
I
well,
actually
yes.
just complained about Telex myself. It's so far from being mature. And it could be great. I agree with I like that vision of like you want to spin up a quick website, just jump into Playground and AI your way into it. I think that is a great vision, especially because it's like AI your way into it and then just hit download and then you have it locally to mess with. Or better yet, if I was automatic WordPress.com, it's like don't hit download, hit launch, and then it launches a WordPress.com website that's exactly your site right there.
Yeah.
That's super smart. I'd be doing something like that for sure. I think some of this with how WordPress.org is what Matt's saying here, is just being able to make the knowledge of WordPress just 10 times more accessible to AI. Like the way I
Yeah.
just said, like you could spin up an Astro site locally with Claude or whatever in seconds. you should be able to do that with AI and WordPress too. And I think instead of doing that with a whole entire like MySQL setup and everything with WordPress as a project, do it with Playground instead. Like, hey, Claude, build me a WordPress website that is modern and techy and has big fonts and cool sidebars, and it spins up Playground instead of some other setup.
Yeah.
Ideally.
And that's the, like, if we're all moving, uh, whenever I talk about AI, it's always, I'm 50-50. Is this going to be the best?
Mm,
Yes, this is going to be the best. And if we're moving towards a world where everyone is interfacing with their new website through a prompt, like if that is the future, then yes, having WordPress.org first experience to get somebody to touch and feel WordPress makes total sense, right? To have this literally on the homepage, you spin it up in Playground, and then as long as you can take it with you, at the end, and bring it to any hosting of your choice, or just download it to work on locally, um, then this is the great open source world. How that competes with WordPress Studio, I don't know, because that's a product that effectively you can do the same thing with, and then just shoot it off to WordPress.com to host it. Um, but I would love to see this. Uh,
mhm.
Ian mentions, because I mentioned MCP. Ian mentioned in the comments that he's not convinced with MCP either, nor am I. Like, I look at MCP as this black box of, I don't know what's going to happen in that black box, because it doesn't seem as standard. Granted, it's only been a couple of years. It doesn't seem as standard as a REST API or API connections, and it's just another thing that you're not going to have all the, like, this MCP over here is going to have these 10 features. That MCP over there is going to have 15 features. And now you're like, well, which, now I have to decide which thing I'm going to connect up. Just give me rate limits with API. Like, just get me back to just rate limits in API is what we'll say.
Yeah. I think the only time so far where I have felt like I have to deal with an MCP is with Google Analytics. I've been trying to really amplify my AI marketing chops locally for different clients that I'm serving right now. And like there is Google Analytics API, of course, but like in order to get actionable, meaningful information from Google Analytics with the API, you have to know exactly what you want. But with MCP, it's more of like I just talk to to Claude or Cursor and just say, I want to understand my acquisition channels. What's the top performing acquisition channel right now? And the MCP can process that and pull in the right information. That's the only time I felt like MCP makes a lot of sense right there because it's more
You
like
can
getting the data by talking to it.
Are you connecting it up to another source or another action? Like, are you saying analyze this and then look at my Stripe account at the same time? Like, are you using it in a two tool role?
Not right now. What I can do though, like because it's Google's Google Analytics' own MCP, and you set it up locally. And then what I could do though is I can talk to it and then ask it to bring down that data locally. And then that data is local. And then I also have the other like email performance data or customer churn data all locally as well. And then I can say whatever I want with just normal AI. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
yeah. Yep.
That's kind of where I've been going. A
Yeah.
lot of folks are talking about all of the integrations and all that stuff. Me more, I'm just because related to the whole Markdown conversation, I want to bring it all local as much as I can. And then it's like, okay, go update that data with the API, bring it down local, and now it's here as an MD file, or maybe it's a CSV file. That's also totally legible by AI as well. And then I can interact with the AI locally in all these different ways. Um, but that's that. I don't know for sure, but I feel right now I'm getting really good results by having all that stuff in a local project directory and then interacting with the AI there
Yeah. My
instead of trying to build a whole bunch of toolage and orchestration and whatnot.
there was another flash in the pan technology that happened a few months ago, which was these AI browsers. where you
Mm.
can have that conversation in the browser. And Mullenweg actually brought this up, which I thought was really cool, because I hadn't thought about it at the time that he mentioned it. But if you're chatting natively, if you have that native conversation in a browser, let's say to build a landing page for WordPress, wouldn't it be cool if you just opened up your browser and your browser did the work for you? I'm wondering, this is related to like what you're doing with MCP stuff, is as browser companies or operating system companies, who are also the AI companies, bring that natively into the browser. Like, do you even need MCP anymore? Will it just like analyze the screen and just say, "Oh yes, like the stat you're looking for is here," and just give it to me right here? Now I'm not calling an MCP. I'm not using Claude to talk to Google. I'm just in Chrome, and Chrome is doing it. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as another breaking change to how we operate,
Potentially.
in the
Potentially.
future.
I think AI powered browsers sound super crazy. Like I'm a little bit nervous about like no, I'm not a little bit. I would never log into my bank in a browser that was AI powered, for
Yep.
example. It just feels like Big Brother is watching you in that environment.
Mhm.
Um, but I think like if WordPress itself was like, here is the WordPress browser, and that was an AI powered browser, all of a sudden it feels like you could build whatever WordPress website you wanted very quickly if that was the case. Because like
Yeah.
controlling the browser itself feels like the next level. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, we got another comment here talking about MCPs. Remkes de Vries is on X saying MCPs turn big data into golden opportunities. And I think that's the thing. I agree, like all the different ways in which we interact with AI are changing so quickly. It's hard to get a grasp on all the different use cases. I think Remkes's through line there is a good one. Like, go to MCP when you're talking, like my example with Google Analytics. I honestly didn't think about it the way Remkes said it right there. I think that's perfect. Um, Ian also in the comments again, AI browsers make me nervous too. Seems easy to secretly prompt inject images, among other things. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, anti-gravity is Google's IDE essentially, but it's like it's basically an IDE that's basically a browser. I mean, it's
Right.
so
Yeah.
close, you know. And Claude Desktop at the same time is like basically you tell it what to do, and it goes and opens up a browser and starts doing all those things in front of your eyes. Um, I mean, it does it at a snail's pace, but I mean, it's doing it. These are not far removed from just like spying on what you're doing. Um, I think this is a good transition point to kind of the viral tweet of the week right here in the WordPress space. Katie Keith, co host on WP Product Talk, by the way. Um, she says, I feel like I'm living in a parallel universe where my developer friends are doing amazing things with AI, but whenever I try to use it for anything beyond chat, it can't even manage the basics. I think this highlights the growing gap between the superpowers that AI is unlocking for developers versus us mere mortals. Or maybe I'm the only person incapable of vibe coding a secure, well architected app or setting up the WooCommerce MCP. Um, Most developers don't realize how much of what they're doing with AI is powered by their own expertise. AI isn't replacing them, it's amplifying their skills and the rest of us that the rest of us don't have. Their jobs are a lot safer than they think. This is, in my mind, things that people are not saying. You hear developers talk all the time and they're like, well, crap, I'm not even a developer anymore. I'm a project manager. And people are going to be building all the products. There's not going to be any developers anymore. Katie's pushback here, I think, is really, really legit. I don't know. What's your take, Matt?
Yeah, it is. I mean, this week has seen a lot of. I think there was another Matt, right, that wrote this article. A big thing is coming, or a big change
Matt
is coming, or something
Schumer.
like that.
Yeah.
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 Um, so you read that, and you're just like, you get this wave of like, oh my god, what is happening right now? I don't like a lot of us who are even in this. I feel sometimes like I have zero control over this. I'm literally trying to hang on while this speedboat is going across the lake and try to survive this thing. Yeah, I've seen other people say things like, "Hey, if your employees aren't using Claude Code, you got to fire them now." It's just like, damn, like how what are we doing to say, to society with this stuff? Um, the one like I when I first read this tweet from Katie, I actually had wrote something out, but I ended up not sending it because I wanted to reword it. I think that it depends on what the expectation is. Like, if I were specifically sitting down with Katie in front of me and like talking about that tweet, I would just say, well, like, how much time, what's your expectation, and how much time did you give your whatever particular task where you felt like you failed, air quotes. Um, and for me, it's just like, yeah, like if we talked about in the first show, I built a plugin, I built a bunch of things over the last few years that I would feel are complete web apps, asterisks on the security side of things. But like, I feel like I have successfully built things, and I've been building a lot of stuff internally at Gravity Forms as well, that even though folks who've been doing this stuff forever are like, wow, I can't believe you did that. Um, it wasn't instant. It wasn't a one-shot thing. It was deep conversation, deep testing, that took some time, many hours to get something done with the plugin, the stuff that you and I talked about last time.
Yeah.
40 plus hours of like working on this thing, to get that plugin into a stable environment. So I think it's going to come down to, at least right now, like what your expectations are of getting something done with AI. Um, I am also not on the spectrum of saying like we're all screwed in a year.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years is
Yeah.
is maybe what I'm saying, but I don't feel like it's just to the end. Talked to somebody the other day who, is consulting, a freelancer who's consulting with web projects and, building a web project for a construction company, not a very big construction company, but about 50, 60 people that work at this construction company, husband, wife own it. They don't even know what's going on with their website.
Yeah.
AI, like, it's
Yep.
gonna take so long for adoption to happen
Yep.
because people are just gonna be, have just do not catch up. 2026, they don't even know what they're doing with their website, and this is a multi-million dollar company. So I just don't see that exodus, happening as fast as maybe a lot of other people
Yeah.
are claiming it to be.
Yeah, Ian again is in the comments saying all this stuff. It doesn't change the ratio problem. Big companies that have 5,000 devs today might not need 6,000 devs next year. That's very true. I think that the companies that have 5,000 devs today are going to have 2,000 devs next year. Honestly, that's more where I think it's headed. And Max is in the comments talking about Katie's tweet. She says, "This is a great." He says, "This is a great take." I also think it's an amplification, AI being an amplification, but it's also a great tool to learn. It's a great tutor. Yeah, one more here. Torsten is in the comments saying, "Without your own expertise, you cannot really use this at all. You need to review, direct, and manage those LLMs." I talked with several devs about it. I was like, you can create amazing blog posts with AI, but you never hit publish unless somebody looks over it a lot first. And I think code is the same way. The devs that I was talking to said, no, I've shipped tons of code without even checking it because it was functional, it worked. The feature was exactly what I wanted it to be, but that's still user acceptance testing, I would say. Like there's still like AI does the whole thing and you don't just ship it. You're like still looking at the app and making sure that it's actually doing what it was intended to do and confirming that it didn't break everything. Like there's always the gatekeeping before it goes out. And I think
Yeah.
that that's going to get more and more necessary, not less.
Yeah, another thing that it was sort of related to the last point that we were the last article we were talking about, but still related to this is I think we're still in that feature phase of all these AI things that are happening. I mean, we're down to minutes now between when Anthropic and OpenAI are releasing their latest, right? The last 4.6 and 5.3 from OpenAI, they were 27 minutes apart. Right, on Twitter. It used to be months, then it was weeks, then it was days, and now it's minutes. Um, And you remember this. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in the audience remember this. Like when Elementor was on with their first like rocket ship increase, how many add-ons were coming out that were just features of Elementor? And then you would see
100%.
another page builder come out and it would be like ultimate add-on for XYZ. It's like, wait a minute, this thing just released. How do you have ultimate add-ons for this already? And I look at OpenClaw, which has already gone through its third naming convention, or rebrand. And I look at that and like, hey, this is so I guess my point is to kind of also side with Katie and maybe de-stress her a little bit is I look at all this stuff and I'm like, man, there's cutting edge to cutting edge now. Like
Yeah.
and this OpenClaw stuff, I think these AI platforms are just going to go, look what that's doing in the market. Let's just do that. Like, let's just have this inside
Yeah.
of ChatGPT and this
Yeah.
inside of Claude. So, I mean, I think people are just seeing things happen at such an alarming pace that these companies are going to slow it all down and slow down their expectations because they're challenging each other. And
Yeah.
they're going to roll these things out and see what's happening in the market and then like roll that out. And at that point, you can say, okay, this is now a stable tool inside of this more trusted tool that I use. Let me invest my time into this. So I look at that as like a hopeful de-stress because even I haven't caught up with the OpenClaw stuff.
Yeah.
I got it set up with Cloudflare, and I was just like, "What the hell do I do now?" Like,
Totally.
I got so many other things I'm doing with AI. Like, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
So even that has paused me.
Yeah, I saw recently somebody on X being like, "I have the best starter get up and running with OpenClaw system ever. Get it right here." And it was like, "Get up and running with OpenClaw in 30 minutes." I was like, I'm
Yeah.
sure that like that I didn't even finish. I started before I said that thing, and I was like, I don't have time for this. AI has made me so frenetic about everything. Like
Yes.
I can't get up and running in 5 minutes. Gee, like the
Yeah.
famous WordPress install was 5 minutes forever ago, right?
Yeah.
It's really detailed, that open class stuff. It's a ton of things. You have to connect it to a million different things if you
Yeah.
wanted to do those things. So
And that's why I just see it as a feature. Like it's an experiment that will eventually be a feature. These brand,
yeah,
it's no different than if you looked at your stuff with GiveWP when you were running that and you saw a bunch of people making an add-on for GiveWP, you'd be like, well, looks like the market wants this. You'd
yeah,
knock on that add-on door and be like, hey guys, we're going to probably do this. Should we acquire you or just letting you know like we'll challenge you in the market or whatever?
yeah,
And
100%.
it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, AI is a new technology that is enhancing the way that we work. Right now, it's extremely dev focused, but it's going to be more and more normal in terms of consumer products as well. Right now, it's really hitting the marketing space really heavy right now, and everyone wants to optimize their content for AI in one form or another. So you'll see these like AI optimization tools. And one of the big keys is this idea. Did I talk about this last time? I don't know. I've talked about it a lot lately. This idea about fan out queries. So when you ask,
Oh yeah.
if you ask AI something like, what's the best WordPress podcast? It's going to create 4 or 5 additional questions related to that one question. And then it's going to search all of those questions. And then it's going to synthesize all the information. And so a lot of these AI optimization tools out there are just grabbing those fan out queries because they're all exposed over the API and then surfacing them in a dashboard or something like that. I saw one recently that's charging $90 a month for that tool. And I was like, I know I can build that. And so I tried it out. I literally one afternoon built it, and I went and I signed up for that tool's free trial. And I was like, did what I built what I built is ugly, but it's functional. And I was like, did I actually have feature parity with this tool? And yes, I literally have feature parity with the bottom tier of that tool, and I built it in an afternoon. We can do those things now because that's the state of the AI technology race at the moment. But as all of those things come more and more into consumer facing things, those tools will get cheaper. It'll just be assumed you have to be able to have AI optimized content for everything. It's just going to be baked into all the things that you do.
Yeah.
So I sympathize with what Katie is saying. The state of where things are not at where she's at in terms of her knowledge and skills and abilities when it comes to dev stuff. But it's going to come to the consumer part soon. And her expectations for her team are going to go way up because she's going to expect more from them because they should be leveraging these tools for themselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'll also get, I was over a year ago, I was a super fan of when I first discovered Bolt. I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was fast. It was building things in the browser. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Then I discovered Replit, and I was a huge super fan of Replit. We might have talked about this on the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now I never use it
Mm-hmm.
because Claude Code is just exceptionally great. And I love working right in the terminal, saving right to my folders on my desktop. It's just a better experience for me. But I think specifically Replit, when they really nail this, um, like how do you distill all of these functions that make you scratch your head as a non-developer? How do you turn those into Gutenberg blocks essentially?
Mm-hmm.
User authentication, obviously the database layer. Um, what are the major blocks, the components of building an app that you can just dumb it down to the big Lego pieces that you find in your pediatrician's office for your kids, the big Lego pieces that you just put together and go front end, back end, click, user auth, click. Okay, now my thing is there. And now what do I do? Am I computing? Is it CRUD? Like what is it that I'm bringing into this app? And we are going to be on pace for that, in my opinion. And I think it's actually going to happen at the operating system levels. I think the operating system levels are going to want this kind of thing, because it's going to keep people on that operating system.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mac will do it, and I think Google will do it. Probably Windows, but definitely Google and iOS or Android and iOS will do it on the mobile level.
Yeah.
Because what made operating systems great? Why did you choose an operating system to begin with? Because of a particular app, probably. And why'd you stick there? Because of a particular app, probably. And now these operating systems are going to give you those big, chunky building blocks to do what you did, which was like, I don't want to pay $50 a year for this thing. I'll just
Yep.
make it my way. It's going to give you super tight guardrails, but it's going to give people the ability to just make their own thing and stay in that environment.
Yep. I hope what that means, and not super long term, but relatively short term, is that the interface of our app really just becomes like a blank screen, more or less. And you literally just talk to it and just say, hey, tell me about my next upcoming appointments. And then it just pops up on the screen and then it goes away. And then, oh, hold my calls for the next whatever. I'm blind. Hold my calls. Like, there is no interface. It becomes a non-interface essentially.
Right.
That would
The
be.
non-existent UI.
I would love that. I would love that. I want less knobs and whistles all over my screen. That's what I would prefer. Um, hey Matt, I would.
I give you
You.
one more prediction, and we don't have to go. I'm just going to say the prediction, and we'll meet up on it again in a couple more episodes.
There we
It's going to be
go.
the rise of the Linux desktop again.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I think the open nature, I think if what AI is doing, like you said, the non-existing interface, you're not going to care. Like, do I have iMessage anymore? Do I have the nice UI of like Mac and like the Mac versus Windows thing? You're not going to care about that anymore. And if everything is just like a compute thing happening, Linux, you're like, okay, why am I paying for this operating system anymore? I can just get
Mhm.
Linux and just do it openly and freely. We'll see the rise of Linux again.
I like it. That's a good prediction. I don't know if it's going to happen within 2 weeks, but like, that's awesome. Hey, I was thinking, what if we wrap up by what's the next stuff besides predictions? That's a good one. We should always do predictions and find out how wrong we are every single time. But what's some cool things you're looking forward to the next couple weeks
um,
or
that's a good
months?
one. Or month. So I I just from the experimentation of the AI stuff, I do want to get into. People are talking about Codex being really great.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to leave. I'm trying to just settle on one. I do want to experiment with that. I have some experiments that I want to build a native desktop app, cross desktop app, Windows, Linux, and Mac. So I've been doing some research in areas of that, or with that, and I'm going deeper with Cloudflare stuff in their hosting stack. I've been enjoying a lot of the different tools and services that I think are great. I've been trying to find that really great single page app that I can launch onto Cloudflare. And then maybe the last thing, which is bringing some of this AI knowledge locally. Helping people locally has always been a thing for me. And I did a course, not a course, I did a presentation on AI way before the holidays, end of summer last year. And it's just leaped so greatly since then. I do want to go back to the local co-working space and hold an event there because I think a lot more people are interested in it now. Only about like 20 people showed up last time. I think it would be a bigger number this time. So I'm excited to start exploring that again.
That's awesome. I have been hearing not great news about meetup attendance from a lot of folks. And I just think it's such a great time for meetups. I think this
Yeah.
is the best time for meetups. I
Yeah.
saw Devin Walker relaunch the Advanced WordPress meetup in San Diego. I'm super
Mhm.
excited for them, and I'm super missing out on it. I would love to be there right now. Um,
Nothing in your area?
there's a couple, but like I'm out in the sticks. I'm not near a lot. So there's a couple that I want to try to travel to at some point.
He
But
says with literal sticks on the left side of his shoulder.
yeah, I'm out in the sticks. Um, Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Me personally, the stuff I'm doubling down on as much as I can. I am trying to double down on some in presence things. Matt himself, this other one, is heavily involved with PressConf. I think what you all are doing over there is super awesome. I'm looking forward to that. That's like 6 weeks out from now. And I'm going to go to Checkout Summit, what Rodolfo is doing. It's just a great excuse to go to Palermo, honestly. But it's the very first one. I think it's super cool what he's put together, and I'm excited about that. CloudFest is coming up very quickly here in Germany as well, and I might do that. I'm not sure.
How far
Um,
away is it from you?
it's like a 3 hour drive, 3.5 hours. So not too far. So those are all fun things I'm looking forward to. But other than that, I am trying to double down, triple down as much as I can on figuring out all the ways to do growth marketing with AI, basically. And that has really opened up my eyes a ton, like what I was talking about earlier in terms of bringing everything locally as much as possible. I've seen some amazing results with just focusing first on a bunch of like business internal documentation as markdown files, and then just interact with the AI and ask crazy questions. It's been actually really, really interesting. And now I need to try to start to have like one command that's like grab all the information. It's going to grab things from analytics. It's going to grab things from the email platform. It's going to grab churn information. And then I have it all locally. And then I ask new questions again. That's kind of my approach right now. And some folks might think I'm sounding a bit old school, maybe. Maybe it's an old school approach to a new school technology. I'm not sure. But
And you just
uh,
unwrapped your new business from the last time that we recorded
oh, yeah.
till now. You uncovered your new Figs and Twigs. Is that what it was?
Oh, my gosh. Jeez. It's look it up online, people. It's
Roots and Fruit. For the love of God, this guy forgets his own business name.
I'm just in shock at the abomination of the butchering.
I
Roots
mean,
and
we
fruit,
had to
folks.
we had to get it in an
Yeah,
episode. I mean,
yeah.
I saved it for the end.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm super excited. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely given me the opportunity to to do the kind of work I really love doing and to do it with multiple different teams. And it's been great. I mean, the biggest thing is I'm just ecstatic that anybody even wants my services. So it was great to actually find out that people will pay me to do this work. It's great. So yeah. Awesome, folks. Well, thanks everybody for being here. This was a great conversation. Matt, thanks so much. Where can people find you online?
Gravity.com and thewpminute.com.
And find me at rootsandfruit.com and WP Product Talk. We will see you all next time, folks.